So I'm at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. We're going to talk about the film Pali Road, which is the film that's going to close out the festival. So I'm with
Doc Pedrolie, the screenwriter.
Eileen Chen, co-producer.
I'm Jonathan Lim, the director.
I'm Daxing Zhang, the producer.
Okay. So, Doc, what's the story of Pali Road?
Well, the story of Pali Road's about Lily, a young Chinese medical student doctor who's getting some final training at the University of Hawaii and some hospitals in Hawaii, and has been living there for a while, and she's dating a local gentleman, musician, school teacher, maybe not the expected gentleman that she should be dating, and they're getting close to making that longer commitment. And that particular, the day of the story starts is when Neil proposes to her, and then there's a car accident, and it sets Lily up on a sort of journey to, face that sort of question: should I do what's expected or do what's in my heart?
Okay, now from viewing the trailer, it's kind of a fantasy thriller.
Yes, it's definitely like a mystery thriller, kind of in that, Jonathan has talked about a little bit, like, kind of the type of movie that doesn't get made anymore, especially in Hollywood studios, that more adult romance is added in, a heavy romance element, and then a lot of psychological elements and mystery and stuff, so a nice blend.
Well, Jonathan, let's talk about that. How did you get involved in the project, and what was kind of your directorial vision for it?
It started off with kind of like a trip I was having to Hawaii initially. I was on holidays. I was just taking a break from China. I was living at the time in China, and I was just kind of moved and, in a very spiritual way by what Hawaii had to offer. It's just so different. From the people to, obviously the islands and stuff, there's just incredible, it makes you think about life and stuff, and, what's life about and all these things, and, the decisions and questions that we have to make in life and stuff. So it kind of started from there. I was going, if nothing else, I wanted to have an excuse to make a movie in Hawaii, so who doesn't want to shoot a film there? And then from there, I kind of sat down with my producer, Daxing, and Doc as well, and said, okay, how do we kind of like do something that's going to work for, these two markets? I mean, something that, what's unique about our film, it is a co-produced film between China and Hawaii, and that leaves us a lot of, censorship limitations that, Daxing could probably tell you more about if you're interested, but it was our goal to be able to kind of like make a film that could cross borders and not just play in China, but something that people outside of China could, watch as well. I mean, it's very important. And as we went further down, we kind of did a lot of research stuff, and this was really about this one girl who's going through major decisions in her life, and her, the story is from her point of view, as she's kind of trying to figure out what's really important in her life. Does she follow the decisions of her and use her brain to decide, or does she use her heart to decide? And that's kind of thematically what Pali Road's about. The bigger picture of Pali Road is really the mystery of how her life just suddenly, she wakes up one day and her life just takes a 180, and she's in a world that she does not recognize.
And you mentioned that there was a connection with China, or produced in conjunction with China.
Yeah, our film had is partially funded by the Chinese, and obviously it's a co-production, and there is benefits from that. But then the major problem certainly was the censorship system. And we are making a thriller. We're making a mysterious fantasy story, and yet what the government of China's regulation, we cannot have ghosts, or it's safer anyway to not have ghosts. So that was a battle, a struggle, and yet I think we did it really well, and that's one thing that we're very proud of it.
Okay. And let's see, I guess being I guess you mentioned it being a fantasy thriller. That is kind of a hard sell. It's kind of hard to get a film like that made. What do you think you did to it to gain appeal and say, okay, we're willing to?
Well, I think there's been films in the past that have been, like I said, I think what Doc said earlier was like so true. Is that earlier he just said that these type of films don't get made anymhere, but people used to love these type of films. Like whether it be a film like Ghost, for example, back in the day. I think there was recently there was a film called If I Stay as well.
Yes.
Jacob's Ladder. These really What Dreams May Come. Robin Williams and stuff. It's like, so those they're very powerful films as well. And I remember watching those and going, wow. But it's been a while because it's all about the numbers and business now. So we because we financed this ourselves independently, we were able to take away any restrictions we had to the script, the story, and just say, look, let's just make a really good romantic thriller here. And there's nothing like our film right now actually in the market. That's and we're kind of excited by that. We're a little scared by that too. And that kind of followed. I think that was the most important thing, is really having a great type of psychological thriller, but have a mashup of these genres and stuff like that, and see what happens. I think let audiences decide for themselves.
All right, and so sorry, let me.
No worries.
Okay, so we mentioned again that it's a fantasy thriller. What are elements of a fantasy thriller that you employed in here that you had to make sure was in there to satisfy fans of that genre?
Well, it's interesting. Just along these lines, like I think what's interesting about our film is that romance was subbed in for where it's gone to more horror, right? So it was really based upon a lot of the romance elements being added in, where nowadays traditionally you'd see something much more horrific, right?
It's like some tragic event.
Or
victims of
the idea of ghosts or seeing things like that or being haunted. This was more open and brighter in the sense. So you have the mystery, the searching, the trying to unravel the truth of what she's going through, which is the mystery elements, the procedural elements, right? But within that is the context of the romance. She's not, it isn't that she's being hunted by an angry spirit or anything like that. It's that she's trying to find her way to the love she feels she's lost and that she wants, and whether she should have that or not. And I'm trying to not give too much away, but
I do need to reconcile.
Yeah, to reconcile those things, and it's a struggle, and that's the thrilling part, because she wakes up in a life she doesn't recognize, and it's like, is this real? Did I lose time, and is this where I've landed, and now I have to come to grips with this, or is this something that's a construct and something else is going on? People are lying to me, or so it's more psychological in that sense, to find something much brighter, which is the true love that she wants. So,
all right, can you talk to the journey of making the film, or finally getting it, getting the pieces put together? Or that would be.
One thing I want to say, Doc said very brilliantly, is that where you normally, if you watch a thriller, you have the sound effect, the music building up to this really peak point, right? You get some horror, threatening, terrifying image or character. But in our story, you get to the peak. The revelation is often, if not always, the truth, the love, the thing that's being sought after. I like that comment very much. So I'm making that.
Okay. So what does it mean to you to be at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival?
Yeah, we're really. It just seems like it's been a journey for us. From the beginning, trying to get an independent film made and stuff. And I think in a year where everyone's talking about diversity, and it's a great way to show what can be done if we embrace diversity in the storytelling, not as an excuse to say, we have Asian Americans in this film, come watch our film, but more that by embracing diversity, it kind of affects the storylines and stuff and gives you unique material and stuff. So we're basically closing the film out, the festival out on the 28th. We're very honored to do that. All our cast is going to come down, so I hope you guys come and meet the cast and stuff. And we're going to be hitting theaters as well the day after with AMC and Regal. We'll be in 20 cities.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. We showed the film, and that's one thing thing as well. It's been even distribution is challenging, because initially when we show our film to traditional distributors, they're like, oh, there's so many Asians in this film, I don't think it'll go mainstream. But we didn't allow that to be those gatekeepers to kind of keep us pinned down, and we just went straight to the theaters, and the theaters kind of embraced the movie, and they were like, well, this is they really liked it, and they think there's a market for it, and here we are. So come see our film April 29th in AMC and Regal Theaters, and yeah.
All right. So you kind of bring it up a little bit, but there's that struggle as Asian American filmmakers.
Yeah.
You want to produce good work and work that comes from your heart, but do you necessarily want to have that title as this being an Asian film, or?
That's a great question. I think that's something that I don't know exactly the answer, because just because I'm still kind of new to this whole thing, this whole Asian American, I don't know exactly, but I think that it's important that we do have diversity in the stories that we're telling, and that like I said before, I think that's you're going to get some unique material out there. I think even Justin Lin, one of his first films, like Better Luck Tomorrow, was about Asian American kids, and he broke all stereotypes and stuff like that, and it took and it got on took on fire and stuff like that. So.
The term I hear a lot is cultivating talent. Maybe Asians aren't there yet at the Spielberg level, but we're certainly, you got to give them a chance to.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's really important. That giving everybody the opportunity, like I said, with our theatrical release, it is basically an incredible opportunity we're getting here right now, and then also what the work that's being done here at the film festival as well. By them showcasing certain films and stuff, and that's great.
Yeah, just showing off talent.
One other thing I want to add is being Asian American, being Asian. Yes, Jonathan, the director, has the perspective, and you are able to see more from the other perspective, so to speak, right? That's what people say the cross-cultural people can be. And from that, if your audience can see us, we're all 200-pounders and up, but we're all male, and Jonathan is quite, I would say, macho looking, and yet his perspective in the movie, the choice of his star, and even the choice of the look of the picture, which comes from the DP. The lead actor is a female, and our DP is female, and the look of the picture is very feminine in a sense that it is a male director, obviously in this case, and trying and making very sincere effort to see the world from the other side, from the other perspective. And the story, as Doc just told you, is all about what is happening with this female Chinese, in this case, doctor. And I personally, I don't want to limit our movies to a just specific Asian or Chinese or anything. It is a thriller. It is every minute there is something happening. The story is key, and yet it is a story told by a male director, all entirely about what a female perspective looking into the world is, and the cinematography of the film also supports that very much. So I'd like people to come and see the movie.
Just the fact that you're, AMC's behind it, and that they're willing to bring it to a broad audience says that it's not just a branded film of being Asian, but it's a.
I don't think that should be. I don't think that should be done. And sometimes I think that we are guilty of doing that. Like everyone is, right? Just say, we're Asian American, we got to have these. I think it's really about what serves the story. Yeah. So it's not about cast me because we need to show more diversity, but it's cast me because I'm the best person for that role. But don't limit us because you think that there's no commercial value in us, right? Which is looks like what the studios are doing now. White people are upset, so they're casting they're sorry, Doc, but they're whitewashing certain roles that could go to an Asian, right? And that's what everyone's upset about. You know what I mean? You go back. That went back into the day. You talk about Kung Fu, the TV series, right? David Carradine is not Chinese, right? So that was for Bruce Lee, but that's what the studios did back then. It is kind of shocking that they're still doing that right now, and this is in the years 2016. So that's what everyone's all upset about and stuff, right?
So then that's just it. We just got to keep cultivating talent. And
I think it's important that people are making noise about it, or getting upset. I think back then no one really would make but with some social media now and everything, you got Constant Wu, big fan of hers. She's out there just like her character in Fresh Off the Boat. She's out there saying speaking her mind, and so I really kudos to her and Ming Na Wen as well, because they're like really what they last week, all that hoo-ha was like, oh wow,
And they've proven themselves to be in the roles that they're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.